Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello, and welcome to the Popternative podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions in the worlds of sports, TV, pop culture, news, lifestyle, everything really depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. Social media, you know me as PD Beats. This is one of our exclusive NHL 2020 draft interviews where we talk to players that will have the chance to have their name called and be one step closer to their dream to play in the National Hockey League. We're speaking to a forward. Spent time with the USA National Development Team program, but he's playing for Quinnipiac University. Smilanic was with us. Welcome to Popternative.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I couldn't be happier to be here.
No, absolutely. And technically, just kind of the backstory. I mean, this is technically your second time on the show, but technology, you know what I mean? But we're here now.
Yeah, exactly. Second time on the show, but hopefully this one works and we'll be set.
Absolutely. It's kind of weird. We're talking about the NHL draft and it's October. You know, you're starting at school and everything, and usually we've been having these conversations in July. I mean, how have you been kind of adapting to this crazy landscape, Ty?
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird to me. I'm at school right now. I'm in the room with my roommates doing interviews with teams and stuff. So it's just definitely a weird situation, but I mean, I'm having fun with it and trying to make the best of it.
The USA National Team Development Program is a very sought-after program. You look at the kind of track record of the players that go and play college hockey afterwards. It's just insane. The last, especially 5 years of that program have just been amazing. What did you get from the USA National Team Development Program that you think made you a better player, Ty, your experience there?
I mean, I think they develop players better than any other junior team in the world. So, I mean, just as far as preparing me for the next level and not allowing me just to be a skilled hockey player, to implement more things in my game to give me the best chance to play in the National Hockey League.
Absolutely. And what kind of player do you think a team is going to get if they draft Ty Smilanic? We know you're a crafty, dynamic, shifty forward, but what specifically will they get from you?
Yeah, obviously, I think my biggest asset's my speed. That's something for sure they'll get. That's where the game of hockey's going, is a speed game. So they'll get that out of me, and just a player, 200-foot player that will do whatever it takes to crack an NHL lineup.
Absolutely. The one thing, though, that you said cracking an NHL lineup, a lot of people that are cracking NHL lineups are learning to kind of adapt to the landscape where you might have a role that you're used to, that Ty Smilanic is used to playing in, you know, the National Team Development Program and in Quinnipiac, but like you go to the NHL level, you might have to adapt to a different role. You know what I mean? Have you kind of thought about something like this? Because you're seeing that happen a lot with players going from junior and college to NHL, used to being on like the first line, being on power play, and it's like, no, you have to kind of adapt and play on the third line for a little bit. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not naive. I don't think I'm going to go into the NHL and be on the first line center or first line wing. So obviously I know I'm going to have to build my way up, as many players have through the league, and get there, be on the third, fourth line, kind of grind it out, help the team win games, and then hopefully get my opportunity to be one of the better players on the team.
College hockey, I just feel like, has exploded in the last 5 years. What do you think specifically has been kind of the appeal in terms of players deciding to go play NCAA hockey, Ty?
I mean, going to college hockey, you're not really rushing anything. You see Quinn Hughes spent, I think, 2 years at Michigan, really developed there, and then obviously stepped in the NHL, was an impact player right away. So Kel McCarr's another example. So, I mean, it's just players are able to develop. They're not really hurrying anything, and that way they can spend their time at college, get their degree, and then as soon as they get to the NHL, they can have a bigger impact than if they were to go in a year or two earlier.
Did you have a chance to watch some of the NHL Stanley Cup finals, Ty?
Oh, obviously. I mean, at college, there's not too much to do sometimes. So, I mean, that's all we're doing at night, and got to watch a game.
So are you noticing how hard that game of hockey has become? Like, it's insane. Like, I'm pretty sure I watched a game and there was like 50 hits. Like, it's just nuts. Like, is it kind of showing you that it's like there's a lot of work to be done to kind of get to that level down the road? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the difference between playoff hockey and regular season hockey is just there's a big step. So watching playoff hockey, and those guys haven't played in months, there was a little bit more energy than there was usually, but I understand that's kind of the game these days. You have guys that hit that need to stay in the league. So I just want to get the opportunity to play there and see what I have to do to help my team.
Last time you came on the show, we didn't have the kind of it was kind of before you committed anywhere. You know, you were kind of looking at your options, but now we can actually talk about it. You decided to play for Quinnipiac, and there were some kind of a lot of players have a lot of schools that talk to them, and there's kind of a lot of decisions they have to make. What was it with this school that made you decide to play for them, Ty?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't be more happy with my decision. I'm coming here, and you step a foot on campus, and the number one mindset of this campus is the hockey team. So, I mean, I love that. Michigan's a great school. I really thought about going to Michigan, but you have football there, you have basketball there, and here it's hockey, hockey, hockey. So they treat us well here, and obviously Quinnipiac being a very good team, they've never won a national championship. So for me to have the opportunity to step in and maybe be a part of history is awesome feeling. So.
No, absolutely. Do you kind of like we were talking about off the bat, some of your players and teammates from the national team development program basically have gone and committed to schools like Boston University, other schools as well, University of Notre Dame, and they all make those choices. Did you kind of like? I just want to know the dynamic because there's so many of you kind of spending all the time together. You say national team development program. Was there kind of like? Did it ever come into play? Like, kind of like, what is this guy doing? What are you thinking? You know what I mean? Like, you're obviously making like a Ty Smilanic decision. You know what I mean? But do you think it ever happens where like, if there's two players that, you know, play together in the national team development program, maybe, you know, if they both have opportunities to go to BU, maybe that can kind of come into the decision. Does that ever happen, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I told guys I was looking at Quinnipiac and actually considering committing there, they didn't believe me, which I kind of find funny is because Quinnipiac is a hockey school. It's been great for decades. So, I mean, but no, I didn't really let any of that sway my decision. Every guy I play with on the national team are top end players. They're unbelievable players, but wherever they were going didn't really sway my decision much. I mean, if I got one to come with Quinnipiac with me, that would be a bonus, but no, that didn't change my decision. I got to visit here and kind of just fell in love with the school.
One thing I'm kind of noticing too is a lot of players kind of that you see right now, like a lot of you have your primary sport, but a lot of hockey players played other sports growing up. That was obviously the case for you. You know what I mean? You played other sports as well.
No, honestly, it was hockey. Like I'd play rec soccer.
Yeah, just rec. No, I'm talking even at the rec level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I just feel like that's kind of like an important thing people don't talk about because I feel like, you know, especially like cardio sports like soccer, you know what I mean, in the summer, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's something not talked about, right? That like growing up playing a bunch of sports, even if you don't take it as seriously as hockey, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, in middle school, all through middle school, I ran track and cross country just for the fact of conditioning for hockey. So I didn't enjoy it, but it was conditioning for hockey. And then growing up, I played some football, played soccer, and I think it's just good to do that. And so it helps you not get burnt out on hockey. You get to experience the other sports, and you don't have that thought later in life, oh, why didn't I play this sport? Or what if I did? So I know I did, and I know I enjoyed hockey most out of all of them, so I have no regrets.
Obviously, it's October. You're at school right now. It's not July, so you don't have the chance to go to Montreal with the family for the draft due to COVID-19. But, I mean, it's still going to hopefully be a special moment. Is your family kind of coming down for you? Like, do you have any plans for the NHL draft?
Yeah, I mean, my parents are, my whole family is coming down to Quinnipiac, spending the draft day with me. So, I mean, I couldn't really ask for anything more. At the end of the day, I just wanted to spend the day with them. So whether it was in Montreal on a nice day in June, July, or at Quinnipiac in October, it doesn't matter. I'm with my family, so I couldn't be more excited.
I wonder what it's gonna be like if they're gonna kind of show the feeds of like like if there's gonna be webcams on you guys like in the rounds to see like the reactions. Like I'm wondering what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already on a program where I'm setting up my camera. I have to get there 3 hours before, make sure it's working, kind of intermingle with the other draft prospects. So I mean, it's definitely different, and it's not going to be as special maybe just because you don't get to talk with those guys face to face. But I think the NHL is doing the best they can with it, and I think it'll end up being a great event.
You obviously, Ty Smilanic wants to be Ty Smilanic. Like, you might not have like a player that you want to like model your game after, but are there some players that you can kind of compare yourself to, or like players that have similar games in the National Hockey League right now that are kind of like Ty Smilanic?
Yeah, you're right. Like, I want to be myself. I want to make the National Hockey League being my own player and how I play. But someone like Dylan Larkin, I watched a lot of my national team, my 2 years on the national team, just because the way he plays. We both play really fast. He plays with such a tenacity that it's hard to match sometimes. But no, I just love the way he plays in every aspect, and I try to model my game after him.
And he's also, there's the leadership component with Dylan Larkin as well. Is that something Ty Smilanic wants to bring as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm quite there yet as far as him, but that's always something I'm working on. And especially being at college, it's a little harder. You're playing with guys. There's guys 5-6 years older than me. So to be a vocal leader is a little harder, but I'm still trying to be a leader that leads by example with how hard I play, how hard I practice, even how hard I lift. So that's something I feel like I've always had, but maybe the vocal part of leadership, something I'm working on.
Absolutely. Well, Ty, thank you so much for coming back on the show, even though people haven't seen the first episode. I appreciate you taking the time to chat, man.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it, and I think this one went pretty well. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Very quickly, why should an NHL team draft Ty Smilanic?
I mean, I could give you a basic answer that it's my lifelong dream, but at the end of the day, it's my lifelong dream. I'm going to do whatever it takes to play in the National Hockey Leagues because that's my life. That's what has been my goal since I was a little kid. And I feel with the way the game's going with speed, how fast the game is, I feel like I'm one of the better skaters in the draft, and I can really bring that to whichever team drafts me and hopefully be a big part of a Stanley Cup run down the road.
Amazing. No, absolutely. And where can people follow you on social media? You have a Twitter, you have an Instagram?
Actually, I do not have Twitter. I just never have. But as far as Instagram, it's just first and last name, Ty Smilanic. So.
Amazing. Well, seriously, thank you so much, and all the best for the NHL draft, man. Enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Ty Smilanic and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.